Hello, everyone. This is Valerie.
And this is Kitty.
And you're listening to the Voices of the Voyage podcast. Thank you for joining us for our very first episode, which is being recorded on the Quantum of the Seas, a cruise ship with Royal Caribbean. Why, you may ask, are we recording on a cruise ship? 2 reasons. A joint venture between Calvary Chapel Oceanside Senior Ministry and Hidden Treasure Productions that combines a pleasure cruise with a mission trip to Ensenada, Mexico. It's a cruise with a purpose, so let's dive in. So, Kitty.
Yes.
We had quite the trip on the way there up to, where did we come out of? What was the port?
San Pedro.
San Pedro. Mm-hmm. And we're coming from Oceanside, right?
Yes.
And so we all get ready to go into the car, right? And that was quite the adventure at first, right? Because we were trying to figure out how to put the luggage in the car and have it all fit.
Yes, because there were 6 of us in this Sienna, and we had a luggage rack, but we couldn't put our podcast equipment on the luggage rack. So that meant that some people's suitcases and things had to go up there. And that was an interesting kind of puzzle to put together.
It was. And it made it really snug for some people in the back.
Especially you and John.
Yes, it did.
You had to be very cozy.
It did. But we made it happen, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. And the trip up there was pretty smooth, right? So, and finding it. What was your first impressions of like the cruise ship when you saw it? Did you think it was big?
It looked big, yeah. But I was really concentrated on how exactly we were going to get all this luggage up there. Mainly because like Chris had a backpack with all the mics. And it was super heavy because these mics are substantial. And so he had to carry that. And then we were hauling a suitcase with all of the keyboard equipment. And that was a little heavy. And then we had our own personal stuff plus his guitar.
Right.
So we were bringing all these things on board. And so it was like, how are we going to do this? This is really tricky.
Yeah. And none of us really knew what to expect. Me and my husband had never been on a cruise before. Had you been on a cruise?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you had like international cruise, like down to, okay.
Yeah. So one of the cruises I went on was when I was a college student, and we went around the world in 4 months.
Oh, nice.
And we stopped in countries in Europe, in Mediterranean, down in Africa and South America. So it was a really excellent experience, but we lived on a cruise ship for a very long time. 4 months. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Okay. Well, my experience was pretty simple and pretty, easy, but I think you had a different experience, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to go through the metal detectors and go through, all of the lines for that. And then as our luggage is going through the X-ray machine, they pulled us aside and they said, "What is in this?"
Oh, no.
And they had to open it and search it because they couldn't figure it out. And so we were explaining about the podcast. We were explaining that these little boom, or what do we call these?
The mics or the arm?
The arms, yeah. That's what they couldn't figure out through their X-ray machine. What are all these long stick-looking things, and what are you going to do with them? So we had to explain about our podcast, and I had called ahead to make sure that we could bring this and keep it with us. And once they searched everything and they said, "Oh yeah, it's just equipment. I guess it's okay." Then they let us go. But we were sweating it there for a little bit. Yeah.
We made it on.
Yes, we did.
Oh, and once we were on, then it was all about trying to arrange, the guests that we were going to have on our podcast. And that very first day, we got on maybe around like 4:00 or no, it was earlier than that. But some of the other guests weren't on until later, and so we were trying to find a time to interview.
Yes.
And so it was later that afternoon. And our first guests were Pastor Allen, who's the leader of the 50 senior ministry at Calvary Chapel Oceanside.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And also Beverly, someone who is also very well known to us and loved.
Yes.
Used to be a board member with Hidden Treasure Productions and has lots of missions experience, right?
Yes, because one of the things we're interested to interview people about is, have they been on a mission before?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, what was that like, as opposed to what we're doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to hear everybody's responses.
Oh, everybody was different. Yeah. So and those two together, what did you think of those two together?
I thought they really complemented each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Pastor Allen shared some things that I never heard before.
Right, and we're not gonna give spoilers now.
No, we won't. But it's
You're
like,
gonna hear.
What? I'm thinking, what? You did what?
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes. Right, and I really liked their chemistry together. They were really interesting to do together.
Oh, yeah. And Beverly is wonderful about sharing her experiences, so she was very explicit, and that was very helpful. Just bouncing back and forth between the two was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah. We're excited for you to listen, and let's get to it. Hello, everybody. I'm Valerie.
And I'm Kitty.
And we're your hosts for the Voices of the Voyage podcast. We're on the ship Quantum of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, and we have some guests here today that we'd like to introduce you to. Beverly, would you start us off?
Hi, everybody. I'm Beverly Dennison.
And Alan?
I'm Alan Lauer.
And Alan, where are we headed today?
We are headed toward Ensenada.
And what are we doing here on this cruise?
Well, what I'm going to be doing on the cruise is I'm going to be sharing the gospel with as many people that ask me about my weird T-shirt that I'm wearing and what does that mean, and I'm going to share with them what it means. And so much of my time is going to be just sharing with people as I have opportunities to have relationships with them.
Okay, and for the people who can't see you, can you tell them what's on your T-shirt?
On the front, it says, "Eternity is too long to be wrong."
That's right.
And on the back, it says, "Live your life in such a way that the preacher doesn't have to lie at your funeral."
That's great.
Who came up with the ideas for the T-shirt?
I did.
Wonderful. Oh. Congratulations.
And Alan, we understand that you lead a group at your church. What's the name of the group?
The group, it's called the 50 Plus Bible Study. It's the seniors ministry at Calvary Chapel Oceanside. We say that it's 50 plus, but we don't card anyone.
I love it. So everybody's welcome, right?
Everyone's welcome.
That's wonderful.
And Beverly, let's go to you for a second.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, but first I'd like to say that Alan is actually Pastor Alan Lauer. He left that part out. But
yes.
Anyway, he's our leader at the 50 Plus group at church, and it's just a wonderful group of people. I just really enjoy it with Pastor Alan's teachings, and we have fellowship together. We go out to eat together. Eating seems to be one of the main things that we do. at Calvary Chapel Oceanside for some reason. And if we don't have a meal there, we go out to lunch somewhere to have. And now we're going on a cruise together.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
it's exciting to be on this, and it's a ministry or missions cruise. So it's not just go to the pool and the spa and casino, art gallery, and just enjoy yourself. Yes, we can do those things, but we're going to be just living our lives, our faith-filled lives in front of the thousands. I don't know how many are on this ship, but quite a few. And with the T-shirts, because T-shirts speak a lot. I read T-shirts. I don't know about everybody else, but I like to read bumper stickers and also for T-shirts. So I'm just a participant on the cruise, and so far this is the first day, but I've already been to the buffet once, and in another hour it's time for dinner. I don't know if I'm ready for dinner. We're going at the 5 o'clock seating, right, Pastor?
Correct.
Okay, that's just really soon. So we don't have to eat a lot, but it's there, so we just enjoy ourselves and just, I don't know, I'm just looking forward to meeting other passengers and having them ask about my T-shirt.
That's awesome.
So, Beverly, you've been on missions trips before.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, this is going to be a missions trip, but I think it's going to be a lot different from the ones I've been on before. When you say missions cruise, to some people, they might construe in their minds the wrong ideas. They might think, what? How could that be a missions trip, But it is. Everywhere we're to live out our faith. And the missions trips I've been on, quite frankly, have not been cruises per se, but they've been a little more rustic, you might say, where you're not sightseeing and you're just going there to do a ministry, to help the people in some way or to help the missionaries that we're working with in some way. We've been to Fiji on a marine outreach, which was a medical and dental clinic, where mostly the dental was extracting teeth because a lot of the people had pretty bad teeth already. And we slept in a community building in mosquito tents, and the lavatories were outside, and the shower was like a bucket of water. So This is quite a step up from that. That's just one of them. And most of the missions trips are not going to be as, shall we say, comfortable as this. So that would be the main difference, I think. Even though our focus is still, we're going to be going to a shelter down in Mexico, just in Ensenada. And so we're looking forward to the ministry there.
Thank you for sharing.
And Pastor Lauer, have you been on mission trips before? Can you share some with us about that?
Yes, I have been in South America, several countries, Africa, several countries, Russia, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, and others.
And others. Okay. It seems like we have a wealth of knowledge here as far as mission trips, and I would just love to glean from you. Can you tell me something that really impacted you on these mission trips that you've been on before? Let's start with you, Alan.
Each country that I've gone to has had a unique perspective to it. We went into Africa and we did a mission trip into the Sudan during the war. And our esteemed leaders decided to save some money and take us on a different route, which happened to be over enemy anti-aircraft.
Oh, my.
And so they tried to blow our plane out of the air. And we had to land in the desert 20 miles away from where we were supposed to be. And so that was probably the most unique experience that I've had. Another time, I went to, with two other pastors, to teach various pastors from different churches that had never had any biblical education. And so we went, and the teams took different books in the Bible, and we had a particular series that we did, and then when we left, it was followed up by others. So enjoyed the diversity of that. Did a marriage conference in Russia, which was interesting, and we also did work on a building to help the students of a Bible college there have better conditions to live in.
That's great.
So different places, different challenges. The one in Sudan sticks in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine.
Bet you were praying all the way there.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
I'd like to speak to just what Pastor Allen was saying, the different kinds of missions trips. They're not all just evangelism or medical missions. I'm actually sitting in the room right here with 5 members that were part of the play, the 2-act play that we took to the country of Ukraine.
Yes.
Then there's another type of a missions trip. It was an evangelistic play called Prodigal, and it was written by a member of our church. And we just updated it. I mean, from the story in the Bible of the prodigal son, it was a story of a prodigal in modern day life. And it was so well received over there. And it had to be translated into Ukrainian, I think it was, from English.
That's right.
And somebody in this very room did all that work. And we had fabulous makeup artists with us that made me over to look 20 years younger, which I really appreciated. And then I turned into an old hag after that. So it was a lot of fun, and we just had a wonderful time. And many salvations came from that play. I can't remember how many, but that's just another form of a missions trip that we took.
Yes, there was a lot of, we encountered some spiritual darkness there, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. The devil doesn't like us to take, to bring the gospel forth. So, but it went forth anyway. Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world.
That's right.
That's right.
So I've got a question for both of you. Have you taken mission trips without your spouses? And if so, how was that different? Anyone want to go on that one, speak on that one?
Well, most of my trips were without my wife. The ones that she did go on, she had to stay in a base camp because we were going into a war zone.
Oh, wow.
But she went with me to Honduras and Brazil and to Russia. So she's been on several with me.
Wow.
Well, for me, my husband used to lead the teams from the church, and we did, I think, 5 teams together at Calvary Chapel Oceanside. But before that, well, basically, we've always gone together. I must say, I did my very first missions trip in 1986, so I did go alone that time, and I went to Sweden with an organization called Teen Missions International, and we stayed at a YWAM base, Youth with a Mission. So the 2 mission agencies worked together. But usually we went together on our missions trips and loved it. And my husband did pass away in 2021. So now I still have the call to missions, and I've been going alone without him. So anyway, yeah.
Was it difficult to go on the first one without him?
Well, Fiji was... Most people say Fiji. Oh, how wonderful. No, that was the hardest trip I've been on. Mosquito nets and no bathrooms and So, but you can always make do, and it's just a wonderful experience. Anytime you go on a missions trip, anytime, it's just you think you're going to go serve, and God always turns it around, and you end up being blessed.
That's
Every
very
time.
true.
Very true.
How would either of you respond to taking mission trips when you were younger and taking mission trips when you're older? How is that different for you?
Well, for me, when I went on the trips with my wife, she had some health issues, but not like the one she has on this trip. Before, she was able to do everything pretty much on her own. This trip, my wife is almost completely blind. She is in a wheelchair, and so it's very, very different. But her heart is the same, if not even more in tune with the Lord in this point in her life. I'm 86, she's 82, and so it's more challenging at this point to do a mission trip, but looking very much forward to what's going to happen.
So God can still use you no matter what age you are.
As long as
Amen.
you're still breathing, you're supposed to, I don't.
That's what I hear.
don't find
right.
I hear
God-
that from Pastor Allen a lot.
Yeah,
We're,
you
we're
know,
still here for a reason.
Absolutely. It's retirement is not in my vocabulary, and
Nor
so I will just keep going till I drop. God has perfect timing, and both of us live with that understanding, and we will enjoy when we get to go into glory, but the one that stays behind knows that it's still time for them to serve the Lord. So there's no finish time for us.
Very nice. And Beverly, when you were in Fiji, you did something very special for Dawn. You want to
Oh.
tell us about that?
I've done that a few times. Yeah, he was cremated, so I have his ashes, and I went back to the mortuary and had the mortician, put them into different little vials. I didn't want to do that myself, so I have these little vials with I don't know, 6 ounces of ashes. I don't know how you can't measure it, and I've taken them different places, and I took it to Fiji too, and Alex and Roxanne. We did a little service, and then they said that I swam out far away. I did not. I just kind of swam out a little ways, and then and put his ashes in the South Pacific, because that was a trip that he had planned to take, and he never got to do it. So when we had some leaders step forward, then I went for it. But he's also in the Jordan River. When I went with the church, I took his ashes to the Jordan River, and let's see, he's in Honolulu. He's all over the place. It doesn't, the Lord's going to put us all together, right? We don't have any qualms about that. But I would agree with Pastor Allen. The energy level does go down as you age. And I didn't really start my missions trips, and I was 39 when I went on my very first trip. And I'm told I'm going to be 79 this week. So, 40 years. Ouch.
Wow.
Good for you.
So, yeah, I'm going to keep on keeping on. I think we all should.
Yeah.
I so agree with Pastor Allen. It's not time to sit in their easy chair. Even if you can't move around. I know his wife mentors people, doesn't she, on video or something. She talks to...
Telephone.
Yeah, on the telephone. Yeah. You can do something, even if you can't move around that well. There's always ministry opportunities for every age.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There is.
agree.
So, Alan or Beverly, can you tell me a specific time on a mission trip, something that really impacted you, that changed your faith going forward from that point?
I think looking back at our time in Sudan when we thought we had everything planned out, and you think you have all your bases covered until you actually have to face the reality of where you are. And so when they tried to shoot down the plane, the pilot had to take a side trip, found a soccer field next to a village, and from the air we could see all these, I think they're called cupolas, the huts had all been burned down, and 600 villagers had been murdered in that particular village where we landed. And so it was starting off very, very rough for us. And the mercenaries that flew the plane, they were Russian expatriates, and they said, get out of the plane, take all the supplies. So we had to unload everything, and then they took off because they understood that the other Sudanese, the naughty ones, were coming with helicopter gunships, and they didn't want to get their plane blown up. So we had anticipated landing in an area that was more dense jungle-like, and we were going to have soldiers that were assigned to us. And instead, we landed in the middle of a desert. There were only 3 trees that we could see.
Oh, no.
So there was no place to hide. So we're underneath one tree. We found out the guy who was responsible for bringing our rations forgot them. So we didn't have the food that we were anticipating. And so they called ahead and told the people that were expecting us to come, which were individuals that had various diseases, plus men and women who had been injured in combat. And so the first night we had no one there, and the second day there was a line of people that came for, it was a 25-mile hike for them to find us, and they came, and we were told as pastors that the medical team, when they checked somebody out, they would give us the high sign if the person was terminal. And so they would send them to us to pray over because they weren't going to make it. And I saw things at that particular time, and with the threat of being captured, all of that had an impact on me. And when I did get back from that time in the middle of the desert with no facilities, no soldiers, nothing, nothing that we had anticipated, and seeing the poor condition of the people that had walked for 25 miles to get help, it was, it really makes you really appreciate what you have as an American. And you see things that are so hysterical. No roads anywhere near where we were. And this one young boy leading an older man that was blind had a T-shirt that said, "My other car is a Porsche."
Oh, my goodness.
And you knew he didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
what that shirt would have meant.
Yeah.
So there's high points and low points, but we saw people who got a taste of Jesus, and that's what we were there for.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, for me, what comes to mind is we went to Canberra, Australia in 1997 on what's called a Crossroads Discipleship Training School. And it's with YWAM. And then after 3 months of training, every week we'd have a different speaker come in and teach us everything from your identity in Christ to spiritual warfare and all kinds of different topics. And then you go on a 2-month outreach. And so our outreach was to the Philippines. But before we left, there was a woman that came in and prayed for each of us. And I remember that when she prayed for my husband, Don, I had never seen this before, ever, anywhere. We came out of a Bible church. We were not part of Calvary Chapel at that point. We were in a Bible church in the San Jose area. And she prayed for him, put her hands on him, and he collapsed. He fell under the power of the Spirit. And I'd never seen that before. And he laid on the floor for a while, and one of the leaders said that God was imparting spiritual gifts to him. And one of them was the gifts of healing. And he did not have that spiritual gift before. And I believe, I don't know if it's biblical or not, Pastor, but I think it was for that particular outreach, because what I saw in the Philippines really blew me away. Because when you're out on the mission field, different places, I've never been to Sudan. That was quite an adventure, but what you saw over there. But what we saw in the Philippines, one morning, one lady started walking up the road towards us where we were staying in this little hooch surrounded by rice paddies. And she said, "I want to talk to that man." And she pointed to my husband. And she's told him, "I saw you in a dream last night, and you're going to heal me." And she had this huge goiter on her neck, this whole huge thing. And he, okay, you saw me in a dream? Okay. So, of course, he prayed for her, and I witnessed this goiter go down, disappear. And that was shocking to me. But as he prayed, the goiter did disappear. It was her faith, not his, because he said, "I didn't really know what was going on." But so the goiter disappeared. And that's kind of crazy, but that's what I saw out there in the Philippines, just one thing. And then another man had died in the village, and they didn't bury him right away. They just kind of propped them up, and the family has to go and visit them and all that. And so they wanted my husband to go over there with one of the Filipino leaders, and they wanted Don to pray for this dead man. No, he did not come back to life. That would have really freaked me out. It would have freaked him out too, I think. But and so he just apologized. But they wanted him to pray for him because they have that kind of faith over there in this particular village. And so those are just two of the things that I saw over there that I wouldn't necessarily see here in the U.S.
That's
kind
amazing.
of blew my mind.
So we're getting towards the end here, but I want to ask each of you, if somebody's considering going on a mission trip, what sort of advice or wisdom would you impart to them?
I would say just be yourself. You don't have to have gone to Bible school like Pastor Allen or seminary. You just be yourself and share your story with people that you were. Don't say you're just like them. Just say, "I was once," just like the song, "I was once lost and now I'm found." This is the way I was before Christ came into my life. And this is what he's done for me. And he loves you, and he wants to do the same for you. So just share your life, be yourself. Because I know of a couple of people that I've talked to that are on this ship right now that had never been on a missions trip, and they were a little bit anxious about it. And I just said, just be yourself, And a couple of people have said, "What are we going to do at the shelter?" I don't know exactly, other than just love on the people. I'm going to bring some little goodies, some gifts for the kids and for the women. But anyway, just love on them. That's what I would say.
When I was sharing with the people that were going to go on this trip, I said the most important thing, we're there to enjoy the experience. It's something that this is your cruise, and we're not going to tell you you have to be here, there, or somewhere else. But the key to this is that you need to pray and ask the Holy Spirit to give you the person that he wants you to talk to. So don't try to make something happen. Let God do the work.
Thank you for listening. This has been Voices of the Voyage, a podcast made in conjunction with Calvary Chapel Oceanside Senior Ministries and Hidden Treasure Productions. New episodes will be out weekly, wherever you listen to your podcast, including our website, hiddentreasureproductions.org. Our hosts have been
Valerie Herrera
and Kitty Inouye. Our producer is Kanan Hessling. Our technical director is Chris Inouye. And our creative director is John Andy Herrera. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you next week. Bye.